Hello, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen. My name is Mark, call sign MedHawk24, and welcome to episode 1 of the Veterans Prosper podcast. You're not alone. Over 250,000 veterans get out of the military each year, and we've all struggled in our journey from service to success. This podcast is going to provide you with the tools to complete that transition. On this podcast, we're going to talk about your decision to get out of the military or to stay in and retire. We're going to talk about the qualifications, the certifications, the skills that you're going to need to pick up along the way in order to smoothly transition to civilian life. We're going to talk about using social media to help you find your next great job. And you're going to want to stay tuned in for this full episode because at the end, I'm going to give you a tip that's literally going to save you hundreds of hours in your job search. So just like you, I'm a veteran. I deployed to Balad, Iraq in 2003 to 2004 as a medevac pilot. And then again from 2004 to 2005, we deployed to Fob Warhorse in Baqubah, Iraq as an instructor pilot. And I had the privilege of evacuating over 1,000 patients. It was by far the most rewarding career I've ever had. And I loved it a lot. At the same time, back-to-back deployments took a big toll on my family life. And so in 2006, I decided it was time to exit the military. I started my own business, thinking that would be a great way to provide for my family, using some of the communication skills I had learned along the way. And we took out a small business loan from the SBA administration. And unfortunately, that was tied to our house. And so in 2008, when the financial crisis really took hold and undermined our business, not only did we lose our business, but we lost our house in foreclosure. Our vehicles were repossessed, and the banks wouldn't wait any longer to get paid back, and so we ultimately had to file bankruptcy. And it took us about a decade to recover. So, even though I was only in the Army about 7.5 years, it took about 10 years to get the Army out of me. And my goal with this podcast is really to help you shorten up that process. And so I'm going to be providing the tips and tricks along the way to help you land your next career and hopefully avoid some of those pitfalls that I fell into along the way. So I want to thank you for tuning into this episode. And I promised you a quick win. So here it is. Never apply for another job again. Never go on Monster.com or any of those other websites and waste your time applying for jobs. In fact, if you're doing it properly, you need to custom craft your resume with all the right keywords in order to get your job through the automated system to somebody who would actually take a look at your resume. And when you do that, it's going to sit on the desk of a recruiter with hundreds of other resumes. They get so tired of that they start searching for people directly. And here's what they do. Put yourself in the shoes of a recruiter. If you're trying to find something online, you'd go to Google. You would put in the key terms that you're looking for. So if I were trying to find myself, I would put in a sales engineer in Dallas with specific certifications. So I would be, entering in Cisco CCNT certification. I'd put all that into my search criteria. And the trick is that's what recruiters do. Put yourself in their shoes. They're overwhelmed with hundreds or thousands of resumes coming in through a system. And instead of looking through those resumes and trying to figure out the best candidates, they just go searching for them themselves. But instead of using Google, they use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is now the best place to promote yourself. So if you think like a marketer, how do you want people to find you? How do you want people to see you? You are a brand. So if you want a sales engineer job, you need to brand yourself as a sales engineer with your LinkedIn profile. That branding process includes the history of the jobs that you've held in the past. Let's say you're an aircraft mechanic. You would want to make sure that your A&P certification is on there. So when I'm searching for an A&P mechanic in Seattle, you're the name that pops up. You're one of my top 10 hits. guess what? That changes the dynamic. Instead of you trying to push your resume upstream and get noticed, now these recruiters are anxious to talk to you. They're trying to get you to return their calls. I get calls every week from recruiters or emails or messages through LinkedIn with recruiters trying to get my attention, seeing if I'd pay attention to their job opportunity, see if I can help them meet their goal. You've got to flip the tables. Submitting your resume through an online search engine no longer works. You've got to think like a marketer. You've got to figure out how to market yourself. So I hope you found that quick tip useful. I have a ton of great interviews coming up. And if you like this episode, I hope that you will click the subscribe button, whether it's on your podcasting app or on YouTube. Subscribe so that you can get my next content coming out weekly. Thanks so much. I appreciate your time.